Welcome to the Broken Agenda podcast, sponsored by Laughing Rock Technology.
Back then, we were just coming out of the 80s. I mean, everything had John Cusack in it. They always wore jelly bracelets and everything worked out in the end. Like, we didn't have split personality murderers, like, pulling off the heist of a lifetime. like, this was crazy stuff. So, but, yeah, I don't know how you tell a 20-year-old that because they know everything. So, I don't know. Anyway, what's up, everybody? This is The Broken Agenda. I am Craig Stoneha. To my right is Tyler McCulley, and to your right is Jimi Klopp. And today, as part of our 20th episode special, we are doing part 2 of NFTs. And I know I didn't mention last week that it was a special because last week it wasn't supposed to be a special, but then Jimi brought the house. And we realized there's a lot to talk about here, and we can't leave you guys hanging. So we're gonna try to tackle all of this. And I'm gonna give you a heads up. First of all, a couple of things I want to preface here, guys, before we get into this. And it is December 8th, 2021 when we're recording. We are not giving any financial advice. I know I say this anytime we do financial stuff, but please, please, please do not take this as advice on things to buy or anything like that. That's not what we're doing. If you choose to get into NFTs, that's on you. Don't blame us. And two, I do realize that this is a bit of a new topic, even to us. It's really new to the world. So there's going to be some things that I have no doubt will change over time. And so bear with us. We'll do a follow-up episode at some point, I'm sure, as we clarify some of these things. But just be aware, a lot of this is extraordinarily new. I mean, to the point where I don't think I've seen a single media article on, like, mainstream media article yet on NFTs and their interaction with the metaverse and how they're being used in some of these more finer, granular industries. And have you guys really seen anything come out? I mean, I've seen some tech articles in trade journals kind of brushing on it, and I've obviously seen stuff on NFTs from the artwork standpoint.
Outside of people making mainstream, I think that's probably he made some mainstream, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's the artwork stuff.
Yeah.
And this is what we're getting into is way outside.
Yeah, what we're getting into is not even being talked about.
So I don't think anybody's talking about this. So this may be the first place.
The gaming. We're going to talk about some gaming NFT today.
And anybody who's a gamer out there who's serious about gaming may have wanted to cross this stuff before. So this should help. Might not. If you know more than we do, please let us know. But just to recap what we talked about last episode in part 1 of this special, we did get into the artwork with Beeple and all of that stuff. We got into music, NFTs, some of the different things they're used for. We hit really heavy on cyberkongs. We're not going to get back into cyberkongs. So we don't want to get into Genesis apes and bananas and all that stuff again. But we are going to go deeper into that world, into other projects that are using NFTs as a currency and as a reward and all this other stuff. We're also going to hit pretty heavily on the proof of stake versus proof of work shift that's happening now in the crypto world, and that plays very heavily into the NFT world. So we'll explain how that is while we get through this, but it's a very important thing to know if you're planning on getting into crypto or if you're already in crypto. And then beyond that, we're just going to kind of really get into where we're seeing these things pop up in real world environments. And maybe even if Jimi feels so inclined, talk a little bit about how you could get involved if you even want to. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. Good summary.
All right. So where do we want to start? I mean, I know we have an agenda. Obviously, we can start at the top, but that's never our style. Do you have a place you want to start since you're running the show on this?
I'm pretty much just going to roll right into another NFT project today. So unless unless there's something else you guys want to talk about, questions or anything before I don't know if like I said, on CyberKongs, we sort of I sped through that at the end last week, but I think everybody got the gist of it. So there's, like we said, I don't think going back over it.
Go ahead, Tyler.
But if we want to pick anything up.
Before we dive into a project, I think you guys were kind of talking about it before we started recording, but how gaming NFTs and stuff and all this is different than just the art.
And I think that's where we got to start.
I think we do, because if we dive into a project, this stuff is way over my head.
Well, there's a
frankly.
huge gap here between the Beeple artwork stuff and what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I don't think that gap is I think that gap, most people don't know what it is.
Right.
Hell, I still struggle with it at times.
Yeah.
Well, it's what Tyler is talking about here, what we're kind of conversing back and forth about is this proof of work, proof of stake concept. I think that's where we start.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about here, we talked about this back in our crypto episode, and I think Jimmy got into it in some pretty good detail. But all of the cryptocurrencies that currently exist all kind of functioned off of the proof of work concept. You had to do work, you had to put effort in to get rewards. And what that's traditionally been is you set up a miner and you use the graphics cards on your miner to mine cryptocurrencies and to create them by doing the work. And that work that you're doing is actually validating the blockchain. And by validating the blockchain, you're maintaining its integrity. So it's a whole circle of life thing. The work is important. It has to be done, but you get paid for it in cryptos. That's where cryptos come from. Proof of stake is where cryptos are going. So there's a lot of pushback against proof of work right now. Environmentalists don't like it because it uses a lot of energy. The IT industry doesn't like it because it's hogging up all the good graphics cards and a lot of motherboards and a lot of chips. It was a good start, but they're moving to proof of stake, which is essentially, as a cryptocurrency matures, a good one should have a finite amount of coins that can be mined. And at that point, what you're going to do is take your coins and you're going to stake them. Essentially, you're going to put them up as collateral and you're going to earn interest returns on that collateral. And the more coins that are staked, the more they are used to validate the blockchain, and it becomes kind of a continuing thing without having to mine. The problem with the proof of stake by itself is it takes no effort. So the proof of stake is basically people who already have cryptos just sitting on their cryptos and getting interest. So it becomes almost exclusively investment related. And it doesn't encourage use of cryptos as a currency because you don't want to give them up. You want to hold on to them and stake them.
Yeah.
And that's like, we'll bring it into some way that they can understand it. Like proof of staking basically means that somebody's, if you go to an exchange is holding some amount of crypto, that means that they're saying, okay, we have this actual amount of currency in our like treasury of some sort. If you were looking at a bank, like you went to the bank and the bank says, oh, we have $100 million in our bank. So when you want to come get money from us, we have it. That's in essence what staking is doing. It's kind of replacing that. If I'm correct,
Yeah, absolutely. And the problem is you still need to do the work, and proof of stake doesn't do the work. It's a different thing. So
it can probably never be like one. I don't think you could ever necessarily get rid of proof of work.
That's what NFTs are doing. So that's where we're going to next, and what we're going to talk about today. And this is important for these projects that Jimmy's going to bring up. But what we're seeing, especially in the gaming industry, and I think they're going to lead the charge on this, but you can see it anywhere. We've got examples of, what'd you say, Ruby Tuesdays or somebody, or Applebee's, and who the heck is doing it? They're
Chili's?
releasing their own. Yeah, Chili's. Chili's releasing their own
no,
NFT.
Chili's is not the restaurant.
No, I know. I'm being tongue in cheek.
Okay.
I know it was. Yeah.
No, he didn't.
So what you're what you're seeing now is you're seeing, especially the gaming world, what they're doing is there is tons of work being done that nobody's getting rewarded for. So you got kids that are spending tens of thousands of hours playing video games, playing Call of Duty, they're playing whatever, Minecraft. They're sitting there pounding out hours on these games, and that is work. But the only thing they get out of it is enjoyment, and that's it. It's wasted work from a productivity standpoint. So what they're doing is releasing NFTs and releasing other rewards that you can earn. So you can earn NFTs through your gameplay, maybe by getting certain items, or maybe by putting in so much time, or maybe by investing so much money, whatever it is, whether it's virtual money or real money, whatever it is that their standards are, you will earn NFTs, you will earn coins or currency within that game that are on the blockchain, whatever. And now these can be used to give you access to additional games, additional levels, additional expansion packs, to be able to build your character up. You can sell those NFTs. You can trade those NFTs for other NFTs and build an economy or a market. And all of these are tied to the blockchain, so they can be transferred between users very readily and with proof of ownership. So we're seeing this happen, and this is a lot of what CyberKongs is doing. They're creating these NFTs. They're making limited amounts of certain ones. They're using them as currency within their ecosystem. And this is what is creating what we're going to refer to multiple times in this podcast, the metaverse. All of these companies that are creating these currencies on the blockchain with NFTs or with whatever are then establishing themselves in this virtual universe with their own currency and with their own economy and everything else. And it is growing fast. It is becoming a huge part of the internet. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how these NFTs have turned from people making a squiggly line and getting $5 million for it to you playing Call of Duty or shopping at your favorite store a lot or whatever. And guys, it occurs to me that it's really, this whole concept isn't that different from credit card rewards.
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah, you've got like a Sheetz card, or you've got like like a Walmart card or whatever. You earn points or rewards or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, but the difference is,
it's within that ecosystem.
It's within that very finite ecosystem of just Sheetz or just Walmart or whatever. Now you're earning stuff that can be used within the entire metaverse.
But then, to say like, well, if you earned a Sheetz token, you could exchange that Sheetz token. You could sell that in exchange for ETH, and then you can change that out and go into other tokens. So you don't, although these projects are creating an ecosystem in themselves, you can still interchange and get out and get into different things. So
and since they have
it's
intrinsic
like,
value too, like maybe you have 1 ETH worth of Walmart tokens, you could literally exchange that Walmart token for a different type of token directly, using ETH as the basis of comparison for how many tokens you'll get in exchange for your tokens. So,
well, certain tokens are only going to be interchangeable,
because of the blockchains.
Yeah, so you won't. It any token has to be paired. So you'll have your stable coins like USDT, USDC, Terra, Dollar. So there's probably more than that. I just can't name them all. But so a lot of times, ETH will go into maybe a slew of coins, and Bitcoin will go into a slew of coins, or there will be matches, and it depends on the platform. So it all depends whether or not you can jump from coin to coin if that pair exists, and that pair exists through staking. So if somebody stakes on if I stake, say, Ethereum or Bitcoin, I have to, if I'm going to stake 10,000 Bitcoin, I've got to also stake 10,000 USDC, or I've got to stake 10,000 Bitcoin and the $10,000 worth of bananas, right? So it wouldn't be the number amount.
Why do you giggle every time he brings up bananas?
It's so absurd.
It's so absurd. It is.
So you have to stake equivalent amounts. Okay. So if a banana is only worth $40.
Now you got me giggling.
Well, it's like when you're a kid, you don't really know currency, and you're like, I'll give you 4 bananas for 3 oranges.
Throw in a snack bag and you got a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's to clarify what staking is people are putting in 2 amounts of 2 opposite coins so that the exchanges can provide liquidity between those pairs. Right, and they can choose whatever pairs they want to. And then there's rewards given out, like you're earning interest rate based on the demand for those pairs. So if there's a high demand for a pair and there's no liquidity, then the return is higher. And then when you do your exchanges, going from token to token, then I think that's when your gas fees and things can vary.
Okay.
That's so if there's a lack of quantity of liquidity between a particular pair, you might have a higher gas fee. Don't quote me on that, but the gas fees vary, and I noticed that they vary depending on different tokens I'm getting at. Most times I go from ETH to things or USD, but a lot of times you can't always get those pairs. You sometimes have to trade into a specific crypto just to get to another one. So
you gotta imagine that's the type of thing we're gonna fix over time, especially with places like Coinbase, where you've got ties into all the blockchains, and you've got pretty much every coin available that's worth anything staked somewhere. They're gonna be the intermediary. So unless you're trying to do it exclusively on your own, which you're not gonna be staking on your own, you're gonna work through somebody. I mean, at that point, as long as you're with a big exchange. I mean, this should probably, right? Should work itself out.
I would guess. I mean, the big obstacle right now is the gas fees that you're spending. I mean, you can go in and literally spend $100 to
Have you
buy
seen how
$100.
high they've gotten recently?
Yeah, you can spend $100 to buy $100 worth.
It's
of-
nuts.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know, a gas fee is the price you pay for the exchange. So if you want to sell, let's say you're holding on to 5 ETH,
It's
and
the
you want
miner
to,
fee, kind of. In
it's
a way.
kind of like a miner's fee.
It's the fee the miner's getting.
Well, but what they do
Transaction.
is it's not from a miner. It's not a miner fee. What they're doing is they're basically saying, 500 people want to sell their ETH. Whoever's willing to pay the most is going to get their transaction to go through first. So it's a way of ordering the transactions based on demand. And you say, look, I'll pay extra money to get my transaction to go through right now. I will give you 500. I forget what's the currency for ETH gas.
Is it GUI or something?
Yeah, it's something G. I forget. It doesn't matter. But and then it'll fluctuate. So I used to always have my transactional gas price at 40 GUI.
GUI.
GUI, that's what it is. At 40 GUI, I haven't been able to do a transaction at 40 GUI in probably 6 months. I had to bump it up to 100 GUI just to be able to get transactions to go through. But I've seen it as high
But
as
those fees still go to the miners, right? The miners are the ones that are setting the fees, right? So it depends on the supply and demand.
No, the fee's going to whoever's handling the transaction. So, for example, what I mine,
Right.
but I still have to pay GUI to transfer my mined assets from my wallet on my miner to if I'm going to put it onto an exchange. So if I'm going to take, so I just did this last month at a 10 ETH, and I transferred it over to Coinbase because I was going to stake it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to pay GUI to do that, but I am the miner. Like I mined those ETH. I didn't get it.
Well, you didn't necessarily mine that transaction.
I didn't mind that
You
transaction.
made a transaction.
I see what you're saying. You're right. Yes,
Yeah.
you're paying. Yes. You're,
So somebody did that transaction.
And they're
GUI is
getting-
getting.
you're right.
The
I'm sorry.
GUI gets a part of that, a fee for that transaction. The platform that you did it gets a part of that fee, and then the miner gets a fee. So I guess it's a conglomeration.
or the pool of miners.
2 to 3 fees possibly.
probably
that are wrapped up
altogether.
in that fee.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what that fee is at. Isn't set by the miner. What that fee is at is set by the market.
Right.
Whatever the going rate is,
Demand.
however much you're willing to pay, because you set your own GUI. Like I'll pay up to 500 GUI. And if other people are saying they'll pay up to 600, you're going to sit in line until that GUI price comes down.
And when the market's crashing,
That's going to go through the roof.
those fees are $500 to $1,000.
Oh yeah.
I don't
That's-
do anything during those times, but
No, I don't touch my stuff.
I hear people talking about it.
I don't know. Unless you really think it's the end of crypto.
Or they're day trading, or they're in and out. So then I don't know. It's leverage people, really. It's the leverage people that are messing it up.
Yeah.
They're creating that crazy volatility, and they're getting closed, right? So they're being closed, and then bam, all those transactions are being forced through at one time.
Yep.
So sometimes it's not even people willingly making the transactions; it's them liquidating.
Well, not that, but you don't want to be at the end of that line because the market's going to figure out what's happening before it gets to the end of the line, and it's going to start affecting price.
Yeah.
So, because I know I sat on Ethereum for almost a month, just continually accruing in my local wallet. No, it wasn't even in my local wallet. I couldn't get it out of my mining interface online into my local wallet because the GUI was so high I wouldn't pay it. So I just kept accruing ether that I couldn't do anything with. It was just sit there, just kept building up and up, which was fine. I didn't care because I knew eventually the GUI would come down and I'd get it into my wallet and I could do something with it. But yeah, gas prices.
All right.
It's-
So you hopped on.
It's like Joe Biden's running the crypto world.
I thought earlier when you were talking was a good time to talk about these types of NFTs, just so that everybody's kind of clear on what NFTs are and what different, how they can be issued. Right now, we've got 9 different types of NFTs. You got artwork, you got music that's coming into play, video game elements, which we were talking about.
And for what it's worth, I think music's going to be huge too.
Yeah, music's gonna be gigantic. That's the next big wave coming.
And I kind of want to get ahead of that.
So video game elements can be items that a character wears, whatever tokens they earn, weapons that they carry.
Rewards that you earn.
Yeah.
Yep.
Important sports moments. So you'll have clips from sports games.
Which that one seems stupid to me.
That's kind of like the art. Although the art makes a little more sense.
The art even makes sense. I agree. The art makes more sense. The important sports moments, like really,
Like a legendary play.
yeah. But I can go watch that anytime. It's on the internet.
Just pull it up
like,
on
just
YouTube.
go watch it. Like, what you want to own that play? Like, how do you even own that play? You own a clip of a play that you can watch anytime for free.
You don't technically own it though, right?
But you don't. You didn't do
Well,
it.
well, right now you can see it for free. I think that's the thing. So what I think NFTs are going to do is they're going to change that. Ultimately, somewhere down the road, everybody's going to own these things, and then when people post them, there's going to be royalties or kickbacks. Like if, say, you're using these NFTs in maybe marketing campaigns, and then through that marketing campaign, there's a lead generated and a sale made, like that NFT owner would get a kickback in some way, or they might even just
you've got Barry Bonds' record-setting home run hit as an NFT sports memorabilia video. And what you're saying is eventually if anybody ever wants to use that clip, they can, but they have to pay you royalties.
Exactly. I think that's where it's going.
But doesn't that work that way already? If you were the one who filmed it?
Well, not only that, but the
Technically.
MLB would own it.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
Is
you talk
MLB
baseball,
selling
MLB.
it, or do you have to pay them royalties
Yeah,
too?
if you sell the NFT, you no longer have the rights to it.
Yeah, but is MLB selling their rights to the clip when
Well, if they sold the clip, they would convert it to an NFT. If they're the owner of it, then they would convert it to an NFT. But who owns it? The television station that recorded it.
MLB owns. So if we're
MLB?
using this thing, MLB owns
The guy
all
that
the
hit the
things they
ball?
filmed.
Well, yeah, but not only that, but nobody really, because there is no royalties.
It's
on
sort
it.
of
You can
just a
use these things.
Public, yeah.
I don't think.
I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
where
just
that line
copyrights
is
that
at
are
right now.
applied to it.
Yeah, I think you have to claim that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're wandering something.
I think what they figured out, there's, if they can do this, then everything can be owned, which I think ultimately,
Which then means
good or bad, they want everything to be owned where somebody's.
I will say it does. Just saying, I do think this is stupid. I'm going to be very clear on my stance. But it does clean up a lot of issues with copyright. Because right now, copyrights are real fuzzy, especially intellectual property. It gets real hairy. But if you can take exactly what you're talking about and turn it into an NFT, so you can show exactly what you're talking about and show on the blockchain that it is yours. I mean, if somebody were to use the Laughing Rock, and I pull up the NFT of when we created it, and it's on the blockchain, and I'm like, no, it's on this date, here it is, registered on the blockchain to us, nobody else owns it. But I don't know. It doesn't really matter because it was yours and the other. I don't really get this.
But what happens to like public domain then? Does that disappear?
I think it does.
I don't think so. The internet's still going to be the internet. I
But
mean,
like you may be able to see it, but like you couldn't like if you're seeing it, someone's getting paid. Right now, I think we see a lot of things that nobody's getting paid for. And I think maybe they're like, hey, there's a whole missed opportunity going on here of people just sharing and moving and information. And, you got writers posting articles and then you come in, you set up your Twitter account and boom, 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 you're taking all these articles, boom, 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 boom. And you got a Twitter feed and you're getting 100,000 followers and now you're getting all this clout, but you're using all these people's articles and different things that works that other people did. And yeah, their name's getting spread too, but if there's a way for, like, if you were writing all that stuff and you say, okay, well, if everybody's using my articles and I can get some kind of kickback, this guy's built a huge.
But why can't you do that now?
And that stuff happens all the time.
I
mean, constantly. I mean, you look at YouTube. There are literally organizations to go out there and steal videos, repost them, and then put the copyright claim on the original creator, and theirs gets taken down.
Yeah.
Like, this is constantly happening.
Yeah, and it's not like it's what we're talking about here with NFTs and this. And I'm talking, when I talk about NFTs, I'm not bashing NFTs. I'm talking about specifically art, sports memorabilia, that stuff. We can do that now with what we currently do. Like, you can absolutely, it doesn't have to be on the blockchain. It doesn't have to be an NFT. I mean, these are, again, this is back to, bragging rights, like art. I want to claim I've got Babe Ruth's last home run. I own the NFT for it. But I don't think it really changes much from a practical standpoint.
And if anything, to me, it sounds like it just creates more hurdles, right? It's more of a pay me to see this thing, which then just, in my regards, I don't really care enough.
Although I will say there is one I'd buy.
Which one?
I would absolutely buy the NFT of Tyson biting Holyfield's ear off.
I mean, I can remember that.
I would buy that NFT, and I'd put it on a loop on a television in my bar, and just that's my NFT, guys. And just that 12 seconds of Tyson looking hungry, and Holyfield going, "What the heck?" Greatest moment in sports.
Yeah, like, I mean, is that not a valuable NFT?
Not if I pay actual cash for it. No.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what happens once people own this stuff. I don't know where it goes from here.
Well, and I'm just
To
playing
me,
it out.
That's just, I kind of think where it's going.
It just sounds to me like it's going to be paywalling everything.
Yes.
And at that point, it kills the internet.
Well,
I
doesn't-
don't paywall. I don't
maybe-
pay.
I don't. Yeah, exactly.
maybe it just shifts the money around differently
I don't know.
from the conglomerates to the individuals.
Well, let's move on because I do think we have a disagreement on this one, but none of us really know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's just all agree it's stupid.
Okay. Agreed.
Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. So we stopped at we're at memes,
Memes.
whatever you want to call them.
Memes.
Memes.
What did you say last week?
I think he said.
No, he did.
Oh, the
said
terabyte a gig.
Tera gigahertz. Now it's memes. I want a best of show where it's just Jimmy and you and me laughing and Jimmy saying Jimmy stuff.
The second person in my life
We're gonna
that
get
I've heard
over these
mispronounce
giga
it.
hurdles.
I'm only calling them memes from now on. I am never saying the word memes again.
Memes.
Memes. Okay, so everybody know what they are?
That's awesome.
Does everybody know what they are? We know everyone knows Doge.
Yeah,
right?
memes.
Okay, so then yeah, that's.
I just said it. I said never.
Damn it, you said it again. All right, domain names. Domain names are NFTs now, becoming NFTs now.
That makes sense. I guess.
Virtual fashion, which would be the clothing characters are wearing, and metaverse.
People, you know what? I agree with your head shake and your hand throw, but
Yeah.
especially younger people,
Yeah.
the amount of money they spend to clothe their virtual characters is insane.
And my head shake is partially because that's my son.
Is it?
With Fortnite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got him a gift of like 5,000, whatever they are, Fortnite coins or whatever they call them.
They
And I was
spend
like,
it on, rainbow
this.
colored
I was
wings.
like, this should, because he always wants to get the battle pass. I was like, this should last you 3 or 4 seasons because it's $950. Whatever. Like
How much have you
bucks or
spent on
whatever.
Fortnite?
No, Fortnite, but me, not a lot.
I mean, for him at this point.
I've only spent $30.
And
Any other time he wants to do it and he spends enough time talking me into it, he has to put up his own cash for it.
So you got a $950.
I got him a $5,000, whatever it's called, Fortnite bucks or something like that. He got a 5,000 coin thing.
It's like buying yen.
Yeah.
It was like $3.86.
Yeah. So it was like,
I think Fortnite's going to make this conversion.
They
I
should.
could see it. Yeah.
Fortnite has held on for a long time. It's still huge.
It's a free game. Well, and that was the argument with him. It's like, this is a free game. We didn't have free games when I was younger. Just be happy with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, no.
And definitely not free good games.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a decent game. I play it with him. But what does he call me? I forget.
Noob.
No, it's something because I don't have any skins.
You're historic.
Something.
Wait, there's a name for that?
I forget what he
Does
calls
he call
me.
you an artifact?
Does he call you a foreskin?
Yeah, I mean, time to time, I'm sure.
That didn't even make sense. I don't know why you guys are laughing at that. That was terrible.
No, that was good.
Perfect. That was perfect.
I want to know what the word is for somebody with no skins.
That's
Like,
right. I can't remember what it is.
I don't know any of this. I
No
have
skins?
learned that's.
It's like an original something.
An unskinned?
Yeah.
Are you an OG?
No, it's not. I want to say it's OG, but it's not OG.
Okay. We should have looked that up on the break.
Yeah.
I want to find out. Now I want to know. Because I want to know when I get called stuff. I like to know what it is. As I always, because naturally I'm a guy, so I always assume it's the worst.
Yeah.
So I want to, All right, so we got.
All right, then-
Unfortunately, virtual fashion makes sense.
Okay, all right. And then the last is just various items, which
That's a
I'm.
weak various items.
Well, it's because I think this.
Why
I
didn't you
think
just write etc.?
yeah.
Like
Well,
toothpick.
because this is a category. Because eventually it's going to expand. I'm quite certain of it. But like right now, like things like I put there, Dorsey's first tweet.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
So
I can
there's
see that.
there's all these odd things that are going to be popping up.
Now, again, these are back to a lot of collectibles, stuff like that, which I'm not obviously made it very clear I'm not a big fan of.
I think Dorsey's first tweet sold for 2.9 million.
I believe it.
Imagine that. Imagine your first tweet. You just thought that was nothing. And it was just like,
It was probably like, hey, is this thing on, too?
no, I'm just sending out my first tweet.
Is that all it says?
That's what it says.
How much did it sell for?
It's like 2.9 million or 1.9 million.
This is just
think it was
evidence
2.
that people have too much money.
Yeah, because can I just go see it if I want to?
I don't know.
You can. I don't know what
But
the
you can't
value is
own
to
it
the
unless you
ownership.
have $2.5 million.
I don't get it. I'm not saying I get it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a people
It's
thing.
a piece of history. You know, I think right now.
That actually makes more sense to me than Beeple, at least. Because at least like Dorsey's first tweet is an iconic moment in social media. Like that fits more like the sports memorabilia stuff. Like you're capturing a moment in time. Like I still don't understand it. I just don't agree with it. I still think it's stupid. But I get that. The art thing, I just don't understand why.
Well, and
I mean, you can buy a mummy for 2.9 million.
I would totally
Like
buy
a-
a mummy before I like Dorsey's tweet.
A real wrapped Egyptian mummy.
Yes, let's get that. I want to put a party hat on it.
Possibly in a gold coffin. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm over.
Look, if it's a gold coffin, I'm
Maybe
gonna
I'm
melt that
overstretching now.
down. All right,
In a,
we gotta
in a
go on-
wooden coffin.
We got to go on break now that we're talking about mummies. I don't know how many ETH a mummy is, but we are going to take a break, and we will be back, and we are going to get into projects that our NFTs are sponsoring and how they work and everything else, and Jimmy's going to school us. So we'll see you guys soon. If you got a group of people, it is so much fun. My favorite moment in Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes was my niece was in there, and she was so stressed out from dealing with the bomb that when the level was over, when she was done, she's like, oh, man, that was really hard. I need to sit down. Now, there's only 3 things in the room in the virtual reality. There's a table. On top of that table is a bomb, and there's a chair. So she goes to sit down on the chair. She had been in the VR too long. She forgot she was in VR. And from the outside, all you saw was her lower herself down into chair position. And then you could see her brain stop her body movement because it was supposed to be sitting. And then she slowly just gave into gravity and fell in the chair position. Like she hit the ground, still looking like she's sitting. Laid there for about 3 seconds while we all died laughing. And she goes, ouch. And that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I didn't know you could stay in chair position as you fell. I don't think I could.
so no, I just go right to the floor.
Yeah, but yeah, it was pretty great.
I had this mic up here that whole last half. I hope.
It was picking you up though.
Oh, you're fine. I could
That's
see
it. Yeah, watching it.
the lines of glory were happening. So are we back? Is the timer running?
Yeah, we can be. I'll start it right now.
So I don't know when you're going to pick up the audio, but we are back, and let's get into Jimmy. I think we've gone through our recap. Is there anything we got to cover here? We've gone through kind of.
No, I don't
NFTs.
think so.
All right, why don't we get into these projects?
All right, so I'm going to talk about this particular project. It's called Neo Tokyo, and it's probably the
Do you want to
coolest.
pull that up on the big screen?
I am, but I'm going
Okay.
to basically tell you about it first and how it formed and what's going on with it. So, Neo Tokyo is there's 2 big influencers that are on YouTube. One's Alex Becker, the other one's Elio Trades, and so I've been following these guys for a year at this point in time. Elio has always been into gaming. He's like, I think as far as influencers go, both of these guys in the gaming space are just like, I mean, they're totally cutting edge. And somewhere along the line, they just connected and they actually merged together and they decided that they wanted to create a project. So Alex Becker, he actually has a company called Hyros. He does marketing and he does all the marketing for like Tony Robbins and all these huge motivational people like
Oh, wow.
Dean Graziosi. There's a whole slew of people that he does work for. So this is his business prior to getting into crypto. And when I first started watching his YouTube channel, he was like an influencer. Like he was like he would do things about like, building up your brain to be an entrepreneur. Just like it was a lot of things that had you think. It was almost like not motivational, but it was trying to get people's mindsets right. But he totally merged into this crypto thing, and I mean, I've followed him, and he has been like so spot on with his calls on stuff. Really? I mean, it's incredible. And so he took to the gaming space because as you know, we can kind of see at this point in time, crypto right now is all about like what's to come. But gaming right now, as we talk about play to earn gaming is like ready for it. Gaming is just ready for this thing because this play to earn gaming, it's just like, I mean, it's the first natural step. Second will be music.
Well, and I think the entire participation to earn, no matter what you're doing it in, is the future of crypto. Because they don't want miners doing this. They want people involved. They want you to be emotionally invested in your crypto and in your NFTs and everything else. And there's no better way to be emotionally invested than to have thousands of hours of your own time be the evidence of what you did. I mean, but you know, right now, I mean, look at what happens online right now. And people build these characters and they strut. I mean, I used to know that when I used to play Destiny, you'd go to like the group areas. People would strut around with their characters, like showing off their fancy weapons and everything else. Like, yeah, they'd talk smack on the channels. And like, this is a source of pride for gamers. So to actually have real value payments and earned rewards that you can use outside of one particular game is, in my mind, a natural step.
And finding a game now has become a game.
And it's going to be great for Ethereum because all of this right now is tied to Ethereum.
Yeah.
And Ethereum's the basically the pillar that holds it all up.
Why?
Because Ethereum has a more complex...
the contracts and how you take ownership of the NFTs, most of it goes through Ethereum. There's other competitors coming up right now. You have like Solana has an NFT platform.
Yeah, but I thought Solana was based on Ethereum.
It's on Ethereum, but it's a layer.
You're right, but
it's a layer one, so
it's still the
it's
underlying.
But it's still affiliated with Ethereum. I mean, all of this is Ethereum right now. Even
Yeah, but
Cardano, Solana, like all of these.
But if you go to Solana and you go to their NFT space, you're using Solana tokens to buy NFTs.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it all benefits
it's not-
Ethereum as the basically the coin of choice.
Ethereum as a operation platform, but it takes away dollars from the Ethereum base.
But don't you still need Ethereum for that GUI?
I think,
right? Isn't that how it works?
Well, GUI
is Ethereum.
It's Ethereum, right?
Yeah, it's like a sneeze for Ethereum.
Yeah. Okay. But you're
So-
still paying in Ethereum. Because like when
for some reason you're not. I don't know exactly how that all works, but yeah. So Solana has built a layer one. Their blockchain, their open source, whatever, is on Ethereum's open source blockchain. It's another segment running on that blockchain, but which nobody necessarily owns it, right? The only way you can own part of a particular blockchain is to own the coins. And if Ethereum becomes where people don't use it, it will still exist. It's not like you delete the Ethereum blockchain. It's just that the new layer ones that come off of it, they become the dominant chains. And then if people decide not to use Ethereum token, then Ethereum's price will just decline and it will become what do you call it? I don't want to say useless, but it will decline in its usability and then just kind of fade. But the blockchains, none of that will ever go away.
Well, and the only reason I asked, like, I have Golem, right, which is based on Ethereum, and I could never do anything with it because I didn't have any Ethereum. Like, I had to have so much Ethereum. I had to go and buy it.
That's not the case with Cardano or Solana or those.
Okay.
Like with those, I don't know what their transactional costs are called, but because they're on the same blockchain, even if it's just using GUI, which is Ethereum, it's automatically happening in the background.
Okay.
So I don't know anything about
That,
Golem.
okay, that makes sense.
But-
No, I don't.
Golem is open computing,
Yeah, it's open computing, which is why I converted some like leftover Bitcoin.
which
I
maybe
had.
sometime, if you chose to pick Golem, maybe you could do a segment on what exactly open computing is, because
I don't know anymore. This was
okay.
years ago, and
I don't really know that
it's kind of stuck with it.
exact.
I will say that Cardano, I've taken a bath on.
I think Cardano's time's coming. As soon as the DEX comes up, I think.
And I
Fantastic.
would believe him because when I saw Gollum go up to 80 cents, I like went back in my emails like Jimmy's like a beautiful mind chart came up and I was like, holy hell, he was right.
Wait till you see that whole thing play
I've
out.
lost so much on Cardano, I'm just going to ride this thing into the ashes. Just plain going down.
All right. So the NFT project. Okay. So Alex Becker, just pretty much a marketing genius online. And Ilio, he's created a token called Superfarm, which he's working to become a gaming launchpad. So that's a great token that I would recommend you guys both look into. It would be a great token that I'd recommend to the audience.
What's it called again?
Superfarm.
Okay.
And so they're going to start launching games there. Well, so now him and Alex have created this Neo Tokyo, and the way they did it, it's so phenomenal how they did this. So instead of just putting these NFTs on the open marketplace, dropping them, anybody could buy them. What they did was they created a game. They started doing riddles. They both have huge followings on their YouTube, Twitter. So they started dropping hints of different things. You might find one on Ilio's Twitter, one on Alex's Twitter, but they just kept dropping these random clues, and then people had to go and try to solve riddles and find what they were talking about. So you have this whole community that's been following these guys as they're doing this. And if you were able to put together the riddle, you got a link to the mint page, which means and we talked about that last week, minting the NFT means basically you're creating the NFT at that moment in time. You're paying the transaction. You have a code. You connect your wallet. The site detects the code in the wallet, and you get permission to mint that NFT. So what they did was they created these characters. Okay, so this was a series of things that they dropped. This was the first drop. Okay, and what they did is Ilio and Alex, they each kept one of these for themselves, and then everything else, everyone got them for free. All they had to do was pay the cost of minting. Nobody paid anything other than that.
And solve the riddles.
Right. So they solve the riddles, and then they get to mint. So right now these are at an 18.4 floor price. Okay, so that's $4,000 times, that's 80 grand, 70 grand.
Okay.
Okay. So these people got these NFTs for free. Okay. Now, so once basically what these are is just code, they're character codes. Okay. So they had no game. All they did was create codes for characters for a game that they planned to create. And then each game or each character, like these green highlights were like special traits. And I don't have the skill set on here, but there's a website like that you can go to. It's called Rarity Tools, and you can pull up NFTs and you can look at the rarity scores that they have. So they actually mark all these, and they'll show you if you have an NFT, if it's a rare NFT or it's a common NFT.
So when you say floor price, you mean the cheapest one out of all of these?
The cheapest one out of all these is 18.4
Okay.
ETH. Okay, and
And they go up from there.
yeah.
So
Now,
switch that from price to low to high to high to low.
okay. High to low.
So how high do they go?
They go as high as the people put prices on.
Woo! 215 ETH. That one's a spicy meatball.
So you can see these three red ones here. You know, they're probably, and I can show you, I think, what one of the characters and the stuff is starting to come out in different, like the characters are starting to come out right now, where we're getting some glimpses of, I mean, you can see right here you can see the theme. This here is kind of the theme of how a lot of this looks. But if I go to Twitter, get into Twitter here, I don't know if my account, okay, it looks like I'm logged in. I don't know. I must have done that last week. Okay, so, he changed it again. But see, this looks like a character. He had
Okay, so just to be clear here, when the game releases, there will be tons of characters. You will own one of the characters.
Yeah, so these people that got these identities are basically got characters, and no one knew what they were. But what's happening now is I'm following the pack, so we're starting to see these drawings come out now, and so we're starting to get a glimpse of what's happening behind the scenes now with the game, you know. So it's just everything unfolding, but it's interesting because
It's like 9-bit.
Oh, yeah, literally.
It's better than 8-bit.
it's interesting because, you know, you're just kind of seeing this whole thing.
So you're actually
being
watching
developed.
kind of the development
You're watching the
process.
development of the game
That's pretty cool.
as it's going.
Now, do you have input in this type of environment? Does your NFT buy you input? Like, do
Okay,
you get
so where did I move? Okay, so basically, so they have a Discord channel. All right. So inside Discord, now anybody can get in the Discord channel. This is the Neo Tokyo. You have to follow the link. There's a couple different ways you can get the links, which, you know, we can post or talk about. So inside the Discord, you know, you have just different rooms where people, you know, you can talk. There's some rules and you know, just different things that you can review to kind of try to get up to speed. You got a general chat. You got the dumpster project talks. Okay, so there's some different things going on here. Now, you have Senator's Lounge where whoever owns...
I don't mean to cut you off, but can I just say the one thing I hate about Discord is when the moderator yells at you for posting on the wrong sub-channel.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. But this doesn't really belong there. This really belongs in recommendations and suggestions. That's 3 clicks down. And I'm like, well, just shut up and just answer my question. Why are you being a jerk on Discord?
You know, because it does get... If you don't
I know
it,
why.
it turns into a mess.
Don't mom me. You're the boss of me.
So in the Senator's Lounge, if you have one of the NFTs, you can get into the Senator's
What
Lounge.
happens if you click on it now? Does your computer
You
blow
can't.
up?
We're locked out.
Do it anyway.
I did it.
That was very disappointing.
Now, what I'm going to show you is...
Why is it a senator's lounge? Are there senators in the game or something? Or
Well, they're just, you know, you have the creators, and then you have, you know, the elite citizens are people who own...
Okay.
who
Gotcha.
own identities or own partial NFTs, and then you have just, you know, the common folk, which I forget what they call the common
Okay, so
folk.
go ahead.
Jimmy, I have a question. So this game is coming about. Are you saying that if I find out about this, my minimum investment to eventually play this game is at least $70,000?
No, this is just to be in the community in the back end. So these people they're going to come into this game when this game unloads. All these people that are going to have these extreme characters running around, you're going to come in with your default.
But it'll
And
be
we were
free?
talking about that in the first half. That was the word Tyler was looking for. It wasn't foreskin. It was default.
So you'll have to work and play the game for years, and you'll have to put in money, and you'll have to buy things to, you know, to get the enhancement that these characters are going to have
So really, this is just a Kickstarter for game development.
for this
Like, here's your
particular
reward.
game.
And now we
Yeah.
really have no idea if you were to go out and spend $80,000 on a base level character and buy that character and have that character when the game starts. You don't know if it'll maintain value. I mean, if the game doesn't take off,
Yeah, you're not looking to. I'm definitely not suggesting that you're
As
going to
an
buy a
investment.
character. This
Right.
isn't like where you got to buy a character to get involved in the game. The game will come out.
but if the game's huge,
There's a way more better reason to have these characters and be into these elite communities, which we'll get to. But
well, we're running out of time, so don't.
yeah, I know.
Seeing a lot of it, it's all faith-based is what it's kind of scary.
Well, it
in
seems
some way.
pretty
It feels
speculative.
pump and dump. Like I feel like you could get it caught in that. You are buying into an idea.
Or
Well, now are people
Or-
buying in? Are there transactions happening here? Are people buying?
Well, I
these
think
characters?
this
Yeah,
one
so-
everyone got free stuff, but
okay, so
initially.
here's what I'll do because I know I'm dragging out. So I'm going to zip through a couple of the things here. All right, so we have the identities. We had 4 drops. Okay, there was the identities. Then there was
Just to clarify, is the NFT is just the code, right?
everyone was issued codes.
But the code is the NFT.
And
that's
Yeah.
okay.
And then the characters, which are coming later, were after. They didn't know what characters they were going to get, So the characters were even a secret. Nobody even knew. You got that physical code right there. There was no picture to go along with it.
Gotcha.
But it was a description of your character, what it was going to be. Then now the artists are working on these characters, and then the characters' images are being dropped later.
Gotcha. But if you own the code, you'll get the image.
Right.
Okay.
So now the riddle's still going on there. Nobody really knows. Okay, so then the next thing they did was they dropped these vault cards. Okay, so vault cards were just like they didn't really know. Again, solved riddles.
Doesn't it feel like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory? Like you try to get the golden ticket.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of like 14-year-old nerds running home going, "I got the elf," and it's a bunch of code. Like I don't.
Yeah,
know.
what
exactly
what
what it
happens
is.
if you're disappointed in your character? Like, is there
for
trade?
$80,000?
yeah.
How could you be disappointed in your?
Like, it's
sell
worth-
it.
Well, true.
Yeah, and we can probably look and we can see recent sales too. So people are getting in. They're getting into it because it's an elite community of people. It's not about the game. These NFTs are going to get you to sit in a room with people who are developing the most elite games.
What if you don't like people?
And these guys also sit on boards of other projects. So they're like,
So a lot of insider information and a lot of here's what's coming up. And you want to get involved in this.
Yeah, so you're inside the
But that all happens in the senator's room.
These NFTs are coming out. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're working on this project. These NFTs are coming out. You guys are going to be on the mint list, the white list. So if you get on a white list for NFTs, because of you're part of something, you get a white list, you actually get permission to mint. So if you want to mint, there will be a reservation for you to go mint an NFT where you're just paying, whatever the mint fees are.
So you got a lot of people just trying to get into the community to get deeper into
the benefits
the community so they can get, gotcha.
Okay. So then
this is really not my speed.
No, and I feel like I have a big disconnect because I like to play video games, but I don't think I would ever get into one this early. I'm usually the guy who's buying them off eBay.
I'd get in this early, but I got to be honest. I'm not gonna scour some dude's Twitter feed to figure out clues to solve a riddle.
Like that's too much.
No,
I would never do that.
That's why I didn't have time. I wonder what these people were doing with their life. Like
playing video games.
Yeah.
I mean, these are hardcore gamers you're dealing with.
Yeah. And it wasn't like easy. Like I saw the hints and stuff being dropped around, and I'm like, if you were working with a couple people, like nothing was that hard. I think if I would have let you guys know it was happening, maybe together we could have worked it and tried to figure it out. Like I followed it and I kept making notes, but
I'm not gonna lie, if we did it together, I might enjoy it.
I was sitting there.
It'd probably be fun then, yeah.
Yeah, the three of us were working on a riddle together, and
my attention span wouldn't keep me myself involved in it. Like, I was just I got something else to do.
I'd be like, this is stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly,
$80,000, which I don't have.
Honestly, on mint day, I was sitting waiting for the last hint to be dropped where they were going to be at, and I got a phone call.
No way.
Yeah, and by the time I got back, the whole thing was sold out in like freaking.
That's because everybody else doing this, they don't use phone calls.
Yeah,
Who talks on the phone anymore?
I took the call and
old man Jimi picking up. It was probably me calling him.
I took the call.
Calling him names like I ruined his year.
I took phone calls on 2 minting days when I was sitting at my computer waiting for the opportunity, and
was it worth it?
One sold out the last one I just missed sold out in 4 minutes.
How much was it, man?
It was 0.1 ETH.
0.1 ETH?
Mm-hmm.
Well, look me up. I'll cover for you.
Well, I just, you couldn't mint. If you miss the mint, then you have to wait till they come on the open market.
I have a substantial quantity of ETH. Like I'll give 0.1 to mint something that you think is a value.
Well, I know, but it was too late. I couldn't mint. I had to wait and get it on the secondary. If you miss the mint, then you got to buy the secondary market, and then they're already up. They were like 0.3, so they had already tripled by the time they came to mint, or after market. So you triple your money if you're in on the mint.
These guys are going for like 90.
You can triple, you can double, triple 5 times your money just by getting in on the mint.
Let's get in some mints.
All right, so there was some kind of vault cards, right? So the vault cards, I don't know exactly what they were saying, and I can't see it from there, but so they did these vault cards. They did then.
What is that? Items?
Yeah, the vault cards were like some kind of items.
Like weapons and stuff?
They did caches. Yeah, it was like weapons and different items the characters were going to get. I mean, we can read them, but...
Okay.
Then they did these cache releases. So basically, everybody's running around, and then you could have a character but not get the cash released or not get the vault. So now you have an incomplete character pack.
This is not my speed.
No, not at
This is
all.
definitely not. But I see it. I get it. I'm not like now you've got people chasing they want to put together the entire character and they're into the aftermarkets and they're running up the price because they need this and they need that. And I get it. I absolutely get it. I just
I couldn't do it, but
no.
and now I don't even participate anymore.
Well, it's not
I
my
mean, I
world.
watch it and I see like there's a new one going, a riddle going right now for Sin City, which is a new metaverse coming.
Okay.
And Sin City is a project that they're on the board for
Okay.
Sin City. So that's a new metaverse coming, which
Sounds kind of cool.
that's what I mean.
That's
If you're
kinda cool.
Yeah. I feel like there was already a game called Sin City.
No, it was
wasn't
a
there?
movie. It had Bruce Willis in it.
Oh.
okay,
yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so
Come on,
then
man, keep up.
then they dropped Bytes.
Wasn't it black and white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
It was Quentin Tarantino, right? No, it wasn't.
No, it was the guy. It wasn't the guy who did 300.
I think you're right.
Frank something.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're always gonna bring it back to movies because your stuff confuses us and frightens us.
300 is a bad movie.
Bad as in it was
Badass
or bad
movie.
as
Oh,
in
okay.
it was bad.
Yeah, it was badass.
Look when he kicks that dude into the pit.
Yeah.
That's. Yeah.
Like when I first watched it, I was like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I realized it was a comic book. I didn't realize that. At
Yeah.
first. And then I was like, this is awesome. Like
Yeah.
as soon as I realized it was a comic book and it was never supposed to be like, because look, here's the thing. There's a book called The Gates of Thermopylae.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I've only ever read it, so I'm assuming I pronounced it right. Old book. I read it probably back in the 90s. It's about that story.
Yeah.
And I read it, and it is very fact-based. Like, it is very much about, and then I watched that movie, and I'm like, oh, man, they made a movie about the Gates of Thermopylae, right? I was all excited to watch the Greeks kick the butts of the Persians and everything else. And then it's, it's Gerard, like, leaping through the air, and I'm like, that ain't in the book. Everybody's got abs. I'm like, no, there's fat guys in the book. I was like, what is going on here? And then I realized it was a graphic novel, and I was like, okay, it's awesome again. But I was very upset when I first watched that movie because I really thought they ruined one of my favorite books.
They lost me when the spear didn't hit the king.
If you can make a god bleed.
Yeah. I wish he would have put it right through his throat.
So that was Tony Stark, right? It was Iron Man 2.
I think so. Yeah.
If you can make God bleed.
All right, so I got to pick it up. All right, so these are bytes. This was the same as bananas, but they've issued bytes now, right? So everybody
Bites of banana.
everybody that had other NFT.
Your banana hatred is ruining our podcast.
Both of these guys are cyber Kongs too.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be? They're probably Genesis Kongs.
Yeah. I think
glad I got to say
I think they actually are.
I
So all right,
planted
so
many bananas.
so everybody who had NFTs now were dropped bytes. So these are the tokens they're going to use in the games.
Okay.
So then the final thing, which was kind
Okay,
of
so you've got your NFT, then you get bytes, which are what you're going to use to spend within the game.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, and then now to
It's
solidify
just
the
like
fact.
bananas and monkeys. Okay.
So to solidify the fact that it's actually going to be a metaverse, they drop land deeds.
Okay.
So now you have not just a game coming, you've got a metaverse.
So now there is
At least so that's what it seems like.
there is an overreaching metaverse that this would be. So it's going to have its own metaverse within the greater metaverse.
Right.
Right. Now, within the greater metaverse, is there, transactionally, because the greater metaverse is really the ultimate goal here, is to have all of these metaverses interacting so that you can interact between your monkeys and bananas and your elves and witches and their firearms or whatever the heck this Tokyo thing is, Neo Tokyo.
Is that what Facebook's trying to do?
No, Facebook's just called Meta because they're posers.
But they started
So
having
Facebook
commercials.
Facebook is just going to be like another space in the metaverse. Like it's just going to be another
Okay.
space within the metaverse. Like they're trying to act like they are the metaverse.
No, they're total posers. Like,
He's a
it's-
jerk off.
He is a jerk off.
So
like
robots.
if anybody uses I hate Facebook. I hate freaking Mark Zuckerberg, dude.
Yeah, screw
It's
that
like
guy.
he's a piece of crap.
That's
With what he's done with everybody's information on Facebook, and now everybody's going to go live and play in his metaverse.
For those of you listening and not watching, I just fist bumped Jimmy for calling Mark Zuckerberg a piece of crap. So it's and jerk off apparently.
Hashtag fuck Zuckerverse.
Whoa.
Sorry, had to be
I
said.
don't have beeping technology.
Come on, the FCC doesn't care about us, but still, behave. I mean, come on, man.
Sorry,
No, you're not. And that's okay.
struck a nerve.
We got 3 minutes here. So do you have any final comments?
All right, so basically, I mean, it's, I think it's still unfolding. There's still things that are happening,
I
with
think-
this game.
I
It's
think
going to
you-
start to come out.
Do you
and-
feel confident you've covered the highlights of Neo Tokyo?
Oh, there's still another. I'll hit one more thing. What's
Go ahead.
happening inside of the Discord now is that they've created this dumpster, and the dumpster was somewhere where people got kicked if they were acting out of line. Well, what happened was the dumpster took on an entirely new phase of the game. So everybody in the dumpster is going to the dumpster now. They're giving themselves rat names, and they've actually designed a map of gutters and sewers off of Neo Tokyo.
Get out of here.
And there's a whole nother segment of the game
That's kinda
forming.
awesome.
Dude, it's incredible. So if I go, I don't know if I can get up here to where I'll see the map, but people are starting to make all these NFTs of rats, right? So you have all these communities, Trade Rat, here's a map.
That's so awesome.
Okay, so this was the Citadel of Neo Tokyo. So now this was the dumpster right here. They created this whole nother map right here
That's awesome.
of rat.
kinda cool.
I
so,
like that.
So this is the Rat Kingdom.
Okay.
So this is, to me, this is like so much cool. This
Yes.
is just as cool, if not cooler than
Well, no,
what's
and
been happening.
that's that organic stuff that happens
Yeah.
in the virtual world that I love.
So now we're looking at this. Like, this is definitely Neo Tokyo art.
Yeah, I bet.
know what I mean?
bet Mark Zuckerberg made that.
So, so I think, because the way these guys think, there's a mole too now that you can follow on Twitter that's dropping hints and dropping stuff. So things or clues and stuff are being dropped in here about upcoming projects, and not just these projects, like other investment opportunities
Yep.
that people can get into. So when you're ingrained in these communities, you'll just get stuff.
All right, so we're out of time here. So final thoughts.
Final
What
thoughts.
do you want to leave us with in your vast knowledge?
I just think that, look, they got a Dump Street Journal.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I don't know. I think that it's worth starting to follow. It's worth just starting to check out. NFT space is great. It's so creative, and I think if you're interested, and you just look up Neo Tokyo and start to go down the rabbit hole, it's a great start. Come into the Discord, scour through it, and I think that's like definitely worth giving some thought to, because I mean it's blowing up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Tyler, your
just,
final thoughts?
it's
I
interesting.
don't really have any. I think it's just outside of my world. Like, none of the NFT stuff is embedded in anything I'm interested in. So therefore, I'm not interested in NFTs.
I get that.
Because I think last week I had a lot of ignorant-based skepticism, and I'm still very skeptical of it. But not because I'm ignorant, because none of it is in my worldview.
I believe it's pronounced ignorant.
Ignorant.
Yeah.
Ignorant.
There's a memes about it.
Is it a minute?
No, I could see that, and I don't know that that'll ever change until
No.
it becomes truly mainstream and you just get NFTs because that's how the world works.
Yeah.
I mean, well, look, what did you say? You said something last week that hung with me. 1% to 2% of investors are currently into cryptos,
And even less in NFTs.
and even less in NFTs. So even within something as well established, in our opinion, on this show as cryptos, you've got 98% of the population that doesn't touch them.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is pretty normal. This is why we're talking about it on this show. Is shine a little bit of light onto something that most people may never understand, but at least they can get some broad strokes. I mean, I think Jimi has taught me more in the last 2 weeks on NFTs. I walked in honestly thinking that NFTs were essentially Beeple and hipster bullcrap.
Yeah.
And I have left the last 2 weeks working with Jimi on this and learning from him, thinking that I definitely want to be involved in this. and some level. I'm not sure at what level, but this is something that I firmly believe this is the future of crypto. This is where it's headed.
I think it seems when you start getting into like these communities it's so much more exciting than the crypto.
It is.
I mean, it's really just a whole different level.
It is. The problem is I'm fundamentally terrible with communities. I don't like to really talk.
Well, it's
That's
hard.
my thing too.
Yeah.
It's one thing to walk into a room and like meet people face to face, but to interact and do stuff online, I find it very difficult. Like I still not have one single friend in any of these chat rooms.
No.
The only closest person I got to be a friend with was people that I changed music with, music videos, because
Okay.
we got a.
Oh, like when I played where it's
So
at
there's
for you
music
earlier
talk in here. So I've been
from Beck.
Yeah, so we post music videos in here. You know, that's really like. So I've been talking to some people in the music quadrant. You know, but it's hard to like. It's hard to meet people.
It is. Well, you're like me. You're good in person. I'm not good on here. Like, and what I find is my problem is you don't have a conversation. You have a bunch of people yelling to be heard.
Yeah.
And that's why I get frustrated. I'm like, I don't care that much to be heard. Like, you guys yell and be heard. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to go do woodwork in my garage.
Yeah.
I find mostly all I do is I go through, I look for key content, and then I go out and do research. But what I started to think is like I'm trying to find the people, the common names that I keep seeing. And I'm trying to sort of build a network so that I can try to start interacting with people I think might be key players.
No, it makes sense. And I think you have, I don't know how the viewers will think about this, but you've enlightened me. I mean, I'm very, very excited about where the NFT sphere is going and how it interacts with the crypto sphere and all these secondary industries that we've talked about. I think it's amazing.
There's two other cool things that I didn't really talk about, but
We
like
ran out of time 10 minutes ago.
I know, but like these groups, like they're like organizing events where they're all getting together too. So it's like they are starting to like meet, and then they go like the CyberCon set up a booth at a event. I forget what the word is I'm looking for. Like a trade. It's not a trade show, but it's like a crypto conference, I guess. So things are happening now that everybody that's in these communities are starting to meet face to face. The Bored Apes are making skateboards and sending skateboard decks out to all their people. They're making clothing. So there's a lot of other cool things that go on in these communities and everybody's putting their input. The alpha guys that are in the elite sides of the groups are getting to participate in some of the decision making and the building process. But so it's pretty neat.
I want to be an alpha guy someday. I'm more of like an Omicron.
Omicron.
Yeah. Just wanted to say it.
That's a new word for me. I don't know what that is.
You're not missing anything. All right. We are officially out of time. Jimmy, thank you so much for schooling us on this. It was an awesome special. I appreciate you getting into such detail. There's more to talk about. We will do a follow-up episode, I promise. There's going to be a lot more coming out on these topics, and I know there's a lot of other projects that Jimmy didn't have time to get into. But I'm actually glad you didn't. I'm glad you focused on Neo Tokyo, because I think focusing on one project is a lot more helpful than talking about 10. But this is not the only one. Jimmy isolated at least 6 here, like 5 or 6 here, that are all simultaneous projects happening in the game world, all in the metaverse, all tied into the global metaverse. It's an awesome, awesome new age going on right now that if you're watching this is probably the first time you're hearing about it. So, Jimmy, thank you so much.
Mighty.
Tyler, as always, appreciate your skepticism and mild anger towards NFTs. I am Craig Stoneha. We are signing off. Have a great night, everybody.
Hasta la vista.
The Broken Agenda Podcast. Sponsored by Laughing Rock Technology.